Okay, on today's video, I'm actually going to cover upselling or upsells. Specifically as it pertains to PPC campaigns, how to take a PPC campaign that you may be running right now today and capitalize more from it. Not so much, ultimately from that campaign itself, but what you can actually do to that customer or client after you've already initially acquired them to get a bit more out of them. Or another way to put it would be to increase the lifetime value or LTV of a customer or client that you're getting right now. Which of course, a lot of people don't think about this, but one way to be able to scale a PPC campaign is actually figure out how to get more from a customer. If you're stuck, a lot of people, of course they can raise the ad spend, they can spend more on clicks to a point, and then they're kind of stuck. They can't scale anymore without it becoming not profitable anymore. At that point in time, what I'm typically going to do as somebody who's, dealing with PPC campaigns with clients here, I'm going to focus on guiding that client to, or a business that I would run, as well. What we can sell more to that person, specifically directly right after that person's purchase. Not so much 3 months from now, which would be its own separate thing, and I do separate campaigns for that as well, by the way. But what can we sell within the first week, ultimately, that's going to instantly be able to bump our numbers up, that we know will work right away, and then ultimately factor that into our equation as to what we know a customer's worth now, and then knowing that we can pay another, let's say, 30% more for a click, go back to our front end campaigns that drive traffic in, drive customers in right now, and will bring at least 30% more traffic through that 30% increase in cost per click that we can now do on the front end. And then, of course, once you've done one upsell and learned what one upsell has worked, to be able to get, let's say 10% of the people who buy from you now to buy this other thing that you ultimately can sell to them, or learn that you could sell to them, you could start and begin to test another thing. Or, my favorite, strings of things. So they bought one thing, I'm not going to stop right then and there. I'm going to try to sell them something else. I'm going to keep selling to them until that person stops responding. If you actually wanted to know how this actually works, turn on your TV. In terms of how effective it is specifically, turn on your TV, find a commercial where they're selling like a gimmicky type product. As you know, there's pitchmen usually selling those products like ShamWow or OxyClean, those kind of commercials. Like, it's a short form, TV ad. Could be an infomercial as well. Go ahead and give those people a call once, just so that you can learn. Buy the product for all I care if you don't feel comfortable wasting someone's time. And specifically, if you do buy it, it will work the best to prove how much this stuff matters. There's a secret in those type of ads. If you're wondering, how do they make money paying for the ads and selling something for $20? A lot of the times, those people have an LTV of $50. They turn a $20 order into a $50 one just through the sophistication of the back-end upsells that they're doing. And they test the crap out of that. Initially, it won't make money. They'll figure out the upsells that work. Also, just thinking about upsells that work from other campaigns that they run, because usually people that are in the business that's their business. They run an offer till it dies and then go to the next one. So they take what they learned from one, apply it to the next one. But they're able to maybe break even at first, and then when they add the upsells, that's what actually makes the money. Without them, it doesn't make the money. So, and they literally, can double to triple the average order value for somebody before they even initially hang up the phone, right through those upsells. So anyway, if you want to see for yourself, you can buy something, but they'll offer upgrade 1, and then upgrade 2, and then upgrade 3. Oh, by the way, would you like some vitamins? Which would be another upsell. And at the end of that, because ultimately, as I'm going to talk about in a minute, the online version of this is one-click upsells. You go through a site, you check out. They know you already ordered already. But a lot of people will wait till you're ordered, then they'll offer these upsells. But once you've confirmed the order, they've got the credit card information. You ask them all these other things, and there's going to be a certain percentage that says yes. They're not going to usually back out it will get kind of annoying after a while, and then in your scripting or system that you have, you can just stop. But you create a formulated system so that you're getting a higher value on your customers, and a lot of times that's the one thing that can make your campaign profitable. Of course, like I said before, you can use to scale up a campaign that's already marginally profitable to be able to get more out of what is available in your market online through your PPC ads you had set up before. And it is a system. The people that, if you call up one of those for one of those offers that you find online on TV, they will test it, and then the phone operators, it's literally ask this, then ask this, then ask this, and then so they could also split test it and find out what works the best. And they have contingencies in there if the consumer seems like that they're getting annoyed, they might exit the call, or if somebody does leave, they have the stats to know how many they should be offering, so on and so forth. But ultimately, very few or hardly none at all people apply what they're doing on to their PPC campaigns to ultimately to their own PPC campaigns. There's a lot of offers as well. Those Taboola ads that you see, it's like one weird trick to reduce belly fat, or one club that can get you an extra 20 yards, whatever, that you find, like you read an article on CNN, and then there's these little funny ads that look like really weird looking pictures in an ad. One trick to lower your electricity bill. You can also try those, click through those. Those people are professional marketers as well, the same kind of people who run those TV ads, but they do the same thing. They get you to order something, and then there's another hidden upsell you don't see. Those upsells, a lot of times, what makes it. And then they only take you so far, and then right away, they have something set up so that a week from now they can sell you something else. So it's all about the upsells a lot of times, because traffic is on display advertising and TV advertising, because the stuff isn't cheap. But for you, if you're running and selling something practical, let's say you're running Google search ads, it's making money. This is the stuff that's just icing on the cake for you. You can't really lose. All you can do is lose out on the opportunity by not using some of these upsells that one of these upsells in the systems I'm going to give you are going to work for you. It's just a matter of which one it is, and go ahead and going through the actions I'm going to describe to you to be able to apply it and take advantage of it, and ultimately find out which one of those is going to work, so you can consistently just automatically bolt on more profit to exactly what you're doing right now, and also be able to help you scale your campaigns a little bit more. So anyway, that all said, I'm going to talk about what the strategy is, how to use it, what kind of results you can expect from this, so on and so forth. Do's, don'ts, things to stay away from, as I usually do in my videos. And I have a short list of things to cover in order to be able to explain all that. The first of which is, what's an upsell and how does this apply to PPC? Okay, I pretty much described most of this already. What those upsells actually are. Basically, it's selling something to another way to kind of define this would be upsells or cross sells. You're selling something in addition to what your primary offer is to somebody to get more money from that particular customer or prospect. And how does it apply to PPC? With the power of, a lot of people don't realize they can do this, but specifically because they don't understand web marketing, all the way, let's say, through remarketing, or those ads that kind of follow you around the internet that most people have seen, and a lot of people today know that run businesses, and especially that do PPC, know what those are. You can have follow-up ads that where somebody, after they purchase or after they leave the site and order whatever they're going to order from you by phone, after that there's a way to actually do that. I'm going to explain how that would work in a minute, to have a banner ad show up for those people, and only those people or certain types of people, to offer them something else to get more from them. Ultimately, that ad's going to just show up for a little while, maybe once or twice, and then that's it. It'll literally cost a penny to have an ad show up for somebody after they've purchased something. So whether or not, even if you get 2% of the people or 1% of the people to buy that upsell, it's generally profitable. So you can see the kind of potential with this right off the bat. It literally costs almost nothing. And of course, it's all automated. You don't have to waste of somebody's time in your company. You set up a banner ad to offer that. Once you find out what's going to work through your data, you should be able to know what is going to work, which I'm going to explain in a minute. They either take you up on it or not. You have 3 or 4 or 5 different ads that have different upsells there on it. If they don't click on any, oh well. If they do, you've got some extra money. But the same things that can be upsold anywhere else, like on TV that I mentioned before that people do, whether you're doing, a lot of people do upsells via email. They'll send an email out to their customers after they buy, asking them if they want to buy something else. I can tell you right away that if something there, or for what you're doing is from another channel or medium, as far as upsells work, it'll work whether email, through the phone, through direct mail that you may be doing. It'll work generally also in PPC, but also better because, again, the cost to have an ad show up for a person that's already bought from you literally is like a penny, more or less. And it's not an embellishment. And so if you're doing anything else as far as upsells right now, put it into an ad that people can click on and get them to a portion of your site where they can take advantage of it. Make a custom landing page for it if you have to. Otherwise, just make sure to send them to the correct page on your site where they can get that. But for the most part, as you're going to see in a minute, though, you're going to want a customized page, just like you would have on the email. If you sent that out to somebody to get somebody to upsell, that would have the offer on it. So the ad just explains in general what the offer is, but you still need a page that's going to explain the bulk of what the offer is in terms of what the upsell is and getting people to actually take action on it. But apart from that, if you don't have any upsells right now, which I'm going to assume most of you don't, I have information here that is going to explain how to come up with an actual upsell. Now with that, there's 4 basic ways to create an upsell that I found. I mean, of course, there's some others out there that you could figure out on your own. But these, if you just want to simplify making money through these upsells for you on your current PPC campaigns or PPC campaigns you're going to create for yourself, you could just follow the exact method that I hear, or these methods, these strategies or upsell types here for yourself, not reinvent the wheel, and just you can make money as is from this anyway. So as I like to do, I try to give you specific information on how to use my strategies. And this isn't, conceptual here. So you walk away from the video, you can actually go out and do something today. I'm going to give you what I normally would use and or my go-tos on doing the upsells, to work those into an actual follow-up remarketing campaign and take advantage of higher lifetime value of a customer that can be achieved from upsells in general online through the use of remarketing campaigns. So anyway, the first of which is you find out what's commonly sold together in-house for what you have right now. This is I'm referring mainly to product businesses or e-commerce businesses that are selling products. There's a way that you can download all the orders from all the customers that you have, and if not, you can start to collect that data. But what you're going to do is you're going to go through and you can find a machine learning person on like a site like Upwork that can help you figure out statistically, out of all the stuff that people have ordered from your site, what is the things that they most frequently ordered together and in enough frequency so you know there's statistical significance in that data. So in other words, it's not a fluke. You're going to find the top 5 things that people bought, and then also had and another item that they bought within a relatively short period of time together, and then you're going to work those as your upsells. For instance, if you sell auto parts, if you're selling an intake for a Honda Civic, obviously it would make sense to try to offer something if you could, with a small discount or otherwise, to get someone to buy the exhaust for your Honda Civic, because you have more air coming in. Now it would really help you even more than on its own having an exhaust for your Honda Civic, for your 1991 Honda Civic EX. You want the exact same product, of course. And then with that, you're going to say something like on your ad, hey, of course, you can, if you're going to do it on your ad, why not do it on an email as well? Same creative, same graphics, all that would work. But you bought the intake, you'll be able to get not just a 10% increase in horsepower, but a 30% increase if you add this exhaust system with it that we have in-house and in stock. And we'll also throw in and give you that exhaust for 10% off if you take advantage of this within the next 7 days. Boom. You'll get a bunch of people to take you up on that. When I say bunch, of course, 1 to 10% somewhere, but still that's significant every single time. And you have this for all the different highly, the products that are more likely bought together in pairs on your site. It's a great way to just pick up another, overall on your site, 10% more LTV from the exact same traffic you have. And of course, that's pure profit. Of course, you have the cost of the goods, but there's no advertising cost really, because again, it costs a penny to have that ad show up for a person. It's so little where that doesn't really even factor in. So ultimately, a campaign that was getting a 7-to-1 ROI can now get close to an 8-to-1 ROI just from that one action. The next thing, as far as ideas or ways to go with getting an upsell, would be to do an audit of what is most commonly needed to install or use the product/service that you're offering. So things like that you would offer would be like going back to the Honda intake for a Honda Civic, 91 Honda Civic EX intake that the person's buying. You could do a DVD that shows the person how to install that with best practices. Of course, you could have consulting. A lot of people are doing consulting virtually, by the way. Why not have an offer that allows the person, and there's ways through technology to dynamically create an ad that would, it's through Google's remarketing system. You could do dynamic remarketing where it has, get a 15-minute consulting session with an intake Honda Civic EX 1991 expert that it can explain based upon your rest of your car's configuration what to do. It's an idea for you. The other thing you can do is like software or data entry with the software. So I mentioned this is going to be like the tax. Let's say you do tax filing right now. People normally that do the tax filing, they're not very good with their bookkeeping. If they're doing the bookkeeping themselves, you can offer like QuickBooks, software itself, and like consulting with the QuickBooks could be one offer. QuickBooks and the data entry to help them actually do the data entry part of the QuickBooks itself, which would be a bookkeeping service as a separate offer. You could do both of those. If you sell a comic book, why not sell a software that helps the person manage their collection of comic books? That's the kind of thing, or any other custom. You could build a custom software very easily and just offer that to every single customer you have. Maybe you only get 1 or 2% to do it, but a lot of the softwares you can make using a freelancer for $1,000. Just another turnkey way to get a little bit more revenue. And of course, like I said, if you have the software, or if there's software out there like QuickBooks, you can offer the help of the data entry using that. QuickBooks, obviously there's other software but QuickBooks, and you could say data entry for, like Pecan, which is another software. It's just another way to have an upsell idea. Also, full execution through a vendor. So if you have going back to the example before, the intake for the 1991 Honda Civic EX, you have a dynamic ad, or just, you don't have to do it dynamically. It could just be, intake, have your intake installation from pre-approved vendors and then, what, city they're in, which there's a way to geo-target your campaigns so that the ad, if they're in Chicago, could say, get your intake installed by a pre-approved, pre-vetted installer that we approve and would recommend in your area of Chicago. And then there's just a form, boom. You sell the lead to the auto performance shop, and then you have another revenue source. A lot of people aren't going to want to do stuff themselves. Just another way to make a little extra revenue. And again, you can stack these things. You can have 10 upsells, and it's literally a penny each time one has to show up. So that first week after they buy, they see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you maybe get 2 or 3 or 4 of them with certain people of your 10 upsells to have them take you up on 3 or 4 or 5 of those upsells that you have, which is big money on that person. Again, that's what a lot of people who are professional marketers that sell, products like on TV, like I said, do to make money. And so this is just taking what you're doing, even though you're not a professional, pitch company, to be able to take the same kind of money, doubling potentially in a lot of cases, or maybe not quite double, but between 10 and 100% increase in LTV you can get by doing the same kind of creative stuff that they're going to do to be able to make their stuff work, which is to squeeze every dollar you can out of those customers that you're paying good money for now and just not capitalizing on. Anyway, the third way to do an upsell, you could do bulk/repeat buys. So this would be like if you sell a product. This is more so for product companies. If you buy, and this happens, I see it all the time for supplement companies. So this is like a gimme if you're selling any kind of supplements or pills or something. Buy a second bottle, get the second bottle for 25% off. So they bought the bottle, they're going to see an ad that has a picture of 2 bottles there. You bought, for recent customers, get a second bottle for 25% off on the second bottle. And on the same ad, it could definitely say, or buy a second and third bottle and get 25% off on the second and third bottle. So there'd be like a this or this. Another way that you can do that is if they buy the second bottle for 25% off, immediately after that, you can have your next ad shows up for them that says buy your third bottle and get 25% off that. Buy your fourth, People in the supplement space, I've seen that they'll do this just through the one-click upsell on their site. So if you buy one, then immediately it's going to say if you buy 2, we'll give you this much off. Okay, if you buy 3, we'll give you this, and just keep going until the person just stops. Because in the supplement space, a lot of times people don't take them and then they give up. So the more, even if you would supposedly get your revenue anyway when that person has to refill, the more of it you push forward up front, the more overall you're going to get the customer to buy, because people give up at a certain point. So while they're excited, if they think they'll get in the first 5 months worth of supply up front, the people that would have dropped off after the first bottle, you're just never going to get the money. And that's one way to get it. And we'll get a higher LTV from what you're doing. But that same model could be applied to so many things. In terms of buying more, specifically buying more of whatever it is that they're selling, stuff that you would have to reuse. It could be, skin cream, anything like that. The fourth idea for upsells would be to upgrade your order. So this would be like, let's say you have a book printer. You could click here and upgrade your order to include glossy, which there's through Google Analytics, remarketing, custom audience menu. You can actually set it up virtually however you want. So if somebody orders online to get their book published through you, or printed through you, I should say, if they did not get glossy, and that's the most common thing that people normally get as an upsell, you can just have your ad then automatically, if they haven't gotten glossy, upgrade to glossy for 75% of the original price it was on our site. And then again, so many people are going to get it. And if they get it, I would in that case definitely have another one that says, instead you double your order and get 80% off of your whole order when you double your order in terms of the volume discount, which would be one of these things. If they get that, then of course there's maybe some other perk where they're getting upgraded binding. You get the idea here. But that's the other the fourth of the 4 basic ways that I'm going to think of and do an upsell. And I mentioned here for your upgrade, you're going to look at the most commonly upgraded things first. If you don't have it, look back in your customer database and see what people are buying together. Download it from your database and then go hire a machine learning data analyst person Google has tools out there where you can, out of 10,000 possible SKUs that you have in terms of in your inventory and system, it'll find the items that are most likely to upsell from that. Just by explaining what you need there, they can help you figure it out. So you don't have to figure it out. Then you just got to know how to make an ad and a landing page, which is real simple. There's people out there like us that can do that without even thinking about it, of course. And then once you have the upsell there, it's there, and it just works and works for years and years and years and years. And even if you're getting 1% of people, of all your customers to now get that, you can do 9 other upsells, of course, and then you're talking about a big difference in terms of LTV, somewhere between 10 and 100% more revenue on the same ad spend that you had before. If you're selling a book, by the way, on the second option, I've done stuff where if you bought the book, even if you're just a regular author, you can have link up with somebody that has a mastermind. If you're doing a valuation, business valuation, telling a person how to sell your company for the maximum value possible, they buy that book, the person's interest and needs, then I would have an ad that pushes it, if either mine or somebody else's that I did a deal with, to get 10 or 20% of the revenue for a mastermind. That gives them a little bit more involved, a little bit more help, where you can work with people there. And then also you have then another ad that would offer the person full-on consulting on how to be able to sell their business for the maximum rate possible. But along with this, you can do in either a sequence. So they see ad 1 and they're not going to see ad 2 until they've at least taken advantage of ad 1, either by clicking on the ad or actually clicking on the ad and registering or buying. Or you can just have it to where ad 1 shows up and then later on ad 2 shows up, and then they just cycle until like a week later, and then both of the ads stop. You can do either or. For something like the book example, I'm going to have both, because one person, the type of person who wants a mastermind won't be the person who wants consulting a lot of times. So you have to realize that, and that makes sense, right? For like the tax filing example, it's also the same thing. The type of person who wants the consulting on how to use a bookkeeping software like QuickBooks, a lot of times they haven't even started. And then of course there's a whole different subsegment of your tax clients that you can normally consult and help file their taxes now, who just need you don't want to spend as much time doing their entries on their QuickBooks software, which taps into another subsegment of your list, which could get you another upsell for your business. And then so for me, I'm going to have upwards of 10 upsells, and it's just going to cycle through all of them. It'll quickly find out the ones that the person's interested in. Some will be of interest for that person, some others won't. Another person will be a different set, and then you're getting as much as you can out of your total customer base that you have, that you can market to now basically for free, and get different things sold to different people, but also maximizing as much as possible from your total list that you can. So anyway, that's the kind of how to come up with an upsell. Now, how to set all this up. Now, everything I mentioned here is predicated around remarketing, having ads that can be triggered when somebody buys something from you, to have this upsell ad show up later on for that person, as mentioned originally earlier in the video. If you're selling a product, what you're going to do is you're going to set up a custom audience on your Google Analytics, which then that custom audience you're setting up that will say when somebody buys this item, this ad should show up. Or if somebody buys any item, this ad should show up. And then, if somebody who bought the upsell ad, then they'll be putting in another list, which that list will then show this other ad. And you could do all of that pretty well just by using Google Analytics by itself, specifically because any customers that come through the cart, you can target people through their system rather easily. If you're offering a service to where somebody's buying offline, it's not the case. At that case, what you need to do is write that person's name down, basically, and then import that customer online so you can have a remarketing ad show up for that person. And you would do that for a service through Facebook, and I would recommend AdRoll. That's the two places I do, so I can get on Facebook and pretty much any other site out there that I could get on with Google's display network, which is millions of different sites out there for whatever sites that particular customer or client normally goes to on a regular basis, so I can get in front of them. And so what you do is you just, when somebody calls through CallRail, you get the Google excuse me, I got to stand corrected there. So with Facebook and with AdRoll, what you're going to do is you're going to get their email address or their phone number. Facebook, you can upload either their phone number or their email address, and if you have that information, it'll be able to have your upsell ad show for that particular person who bought on Facebook. Through AdRoll itself, you need to have their email address. Of course, when you order, you can just ask for their email address. Once you have that, then through AdRoll, to get on all the rest of the sites on the internet, you just have to upload their email address. And so basically every time someone orders, which is kind of a hassle, but there's a way around that, you will upload that person's email address to the Facebook and AdRoll, and then now immediately after they've ordered for a service, it's more, instead of like 7 days after they buy like a product, I'll do 30 days out, showing the upsell number of upsell ads that I have for that person there. And if you use a software like DriftRock, you can Google that. You can have your email address that you need to remarket to that person the way that I described on this video on AdRoll and Facebook automatically, because it links up. You can have your CRM link up with AdRoll and Facebook. Facebook basically to have your upsell ads immediately show up as soon as that person buys through using Salesforce or Zoho. As soon as you click closed, the email address that's already in Zoho or Salesforce that you're using will automatically get ported to AdRoll and Facebook for you, so that it immediately starts showing up, and so you don't have to do anything outside of what you're normally doing right now, because you already manage a CRM system. If you don't use a CRM system, you can't use a tool like DriftRock to do that for you. Then of course you'd have to download from your CRM system, let's say once a week, upload your email addresses to AdRoll and Facebook manually to do your upsell ads for that person. But that would be, of course, what you do. And of course, if you don't have a CRM, then if you're obviously going to have to just manually take your email address, upload it to Facebook and AdRoll. But I will stress that the sooner from the time that person buys that they see the upsell ads from you, the better it's going to work, because when people buy, they're excited, and the excitement wears off the longer it is from their purchase. Even if they've got a good experience for what you're offering them, there's a certain energy a person, when they're normally got their wallets or their purses open, that you want to tap into with these upsell ads, which is why they work. And obviously, if you're doing like a product and you're doing through Google Analytics, instantly that person buys, they see the confirmation, they go to Facebook or CNN.com to read the news. Maybe I'll read the news now. That ad will be on CNN.news.com immediately on that site, which is what you want. Of course, if you use a software like DriftRock, it'll be the same thing, assuming that most people maintain a CRM for their business, so they're going to click like close, and then the same thing will happen. If you don't use a CRM, as far as how to upload these manually, how often, I would say if you're not going to do it once a week, you're probably not going to get much benefit of doing it at all, because most of the benefit of doing the upsell ads, if you're doing a service, is still within the first week. Then the excitement greatly wears off after the first week. It's profitable enough, I would just say, figure out someone in your company that can do it every day, because that's going to be the best thing for you. Or again, like I said, look into DriftRock so it's all automated for you. So that's in a nutshell upsells, and how to do upsells to your existing customer or client base as they come in to generate more sales from the exact same customer or clients that you're paying for right now through your other PPC ads. If you like this video, I have a lot of other videos on this particular channel that talks about other money-making PPC strategies. If you like this video, you should check them out, because they're also just as good. If you also were interested on more like step-by-step instructions on how to build winning PPC campaigns that I've used for our clients to guarantee their results, that I personally wrote, you can go to guaranteepppc.com/blog, and you'll be able to find articles there that will teach you along those lines in that kind of way, if you prefer that. Other than that, if you have any questions about upsell campaigns or just upsells in general, leave me a comment down below. I get back to every person on this channel that asks me a question or has a concern, so on and so forth. But I hope you enjoyed the video. Hopefully I inspired you to start thinking about using your customers to get the most you can out of them through these upsells. Figure out there's always something you can upsell for any business. I don't care what it is. So go out there and start generating some ideas. Use the starting points I gave you here and try it for yourself. You'll see for yourself how much this stuff potentially can work.